coalition house following parliament elections is barely a conduct onto your seats ladies and gentlemen type of case in Europe. He's frequently difficult and tiresome for the parties implicated, never reason onlookers, fair ask the Holland. That makes the present, nearly intrusive world attention on Angela Merkel's quite morbid attempts to shape a Deutsche by the government all the more than remarkable. Down there's one object how comes up above and above once again in Europe circles at the time, Deutsche MEP Joe Leinen said me in lightly irritated tones. While will Germany include a by the government? The Spaniards, the Holland, they all wish to aware, he told, but largest of all, the France of year they do. Which happens in Germany immediately affects the otherwise of Europe. Enormous nation, enormous economics equals huge impact. Germany has perhaps presided above, if not work, the Europe Shah above the history 10 years or so. Aspiring Emmanuel Macron wants France to rob behind the spotlight, a back to which he will see as the nice old days while France play Europe's starring part. But France cannot be more than considerable on the Europe phase out of Germany's assist, and CEO Macron knows it. Now he stands one amongst EU leaders in an shamelessly pro-European position advantage a precise, distant-reaching order of business for EU reformation. He as well really obviously says to Germany, I can't do the out of thou. Thee is a new general in France implementing the significance of earning Germany in. The perspective of a strong Franco-German engine one day once again propellant the EU put smiles behind on Eurocrat many faces following their frustration at the Brexit voice. But the one day mighty Angela Merkel, whom CEO Macron has made so lot to look after, was hobbled by a battering at the polls about the identical period he done his Eurovisionary Sorbonne speaking. Out of a by the government, Germany can just trample policy water supply. And the much longer the trial of Deutsche Coalition House goes on, the twitchier Mr. Macron and some Europe leaders be. Period isn't a opulence, Judy Dempsey notes. In an unexpected CEO Trump card in the White's building, EU countries in East and Centre Europe thumbing their noses at which Brussels telephone call Europe values, a Brexit transactions to be affected and Europe Parliament elections upcoming up following year, never reason perhaps riotous elections in Italy, Hungary and Sweden after the year, the area to accept significant EU reformation looks suffocatingly tight. And so all looks convincingly, eagerly, to Germany and to a meet the Saturday how would not usually tickling pot European headlines, a side meeting in Bonn of Germany's public Democrat side, the Speed. Will the side accept to begin official coalition negotiations in Mrs. Merkel's Conservative Party following prior discussions that ended recent 1 week? And though if it does, will SPD members after claim the resultant coalition treaty? He's far of a made transactions. The SPD executed ill in the fall general elections. Lot in the side accused to lot period in coalition, withering by Chancellor Merkel's dark. For them, else 4 persons year of creature bossed on by muddy is unattractive. Emmanuel Macron and such conducive a powerful EU are readily the SPD to say affirmative. The award for them is large. You don't requirement to recite to lot of the 28 pages manufacturing up the prior speed conservative treaty to understand how Europe is theme quantity Angela Merkel has ever been an hot protector of the EU but never, in all her year as Chancellor, has she done a seer Europe speaking. But in SPD lead Martin Schulz, a ex-CEO of the Europe Parliament and shut fellow of EU Committee head Jean-Claude Juncker, Mr. Macron has met his matchstick for your enthusiasm. On the somersault party, although, if these coalition negotiations crash, so potential do the ambition of a de-energized, more than integration Europe association. Mr. Schulz would largest perhaps be out of a job and Mr. Macron would potential see his EU reformation plans suppurate, denting his permanent at household and overseas. The stress in Europe circles as they wait news story of Germany is tangible. Powerful MEP Manfred Weber said the Europe Parliament on Environment how Europe was at a intersection. He alerted of the continuing tidal of policy neurotism and signed, he's each loathe or expect. He's each an aspiring Europe or no Europe at all. and the fail to accept a as-called Great Coalition in Germany has straight implications for Brexit too much. It could indicate the EU's largest strong nation will be in complete general pole coup faire as negotiators go in fight above the next form of trading and some relations among the Europe Association and position Brexit UK. How perspective 1 is manufacturing eyes water supply, on both of sides of the canal.